Alright everybody, welcome back to the KSR YouTube channel. Another day down at Sebring. We are on the grid to get ready to start our first race of the season. We are on pole for our class, but got some shakeups down in the field there. Somebody made a class change from one of the other classes in the production car classes. And he was fast in the GT class, so he has now switched to the SGT class. So it's going to be interesting to see if we can hold him off. We kind of played a safe tune-up in the car because we didn't realize he was going to be in our class, but we might have changed the gear in the car last night if we had known that he was going to be in our class, because we kind of had a pretty safe buffer to the other cars in our class. Now we don't. So stay tuned and let's see if we can bring home a win. Alright, well, let's get this season kicked off. Mixed class racing here in the Trans Am Series. That's actually Poncho Weaver right there in the all black with the radio headset on, and that is Boris Said in the day glow yellow or the neon green Challenger that's right beside us. He actually had a crash in the practice session, missed qualifying, so had to start at the back of the field. So he had a pretty good bit of excitement working his way through the field, because if you guys don't know Boris Said, he's an amazing road racing driver that has driven all kinds of professional race cars. But we're going to get this race started from the pole in the SGT class and see just where we can end up.
Pit lane, coming into Sunset Bend, the field.
All right, pace car is in, coming to green. This time, get ready to go.
Green flag.
Well, you can see already how quickly the TA cars pull away from us, and it looks like we're driving away from the second place car by a bunch. But you'll see here in an outside clip that's coming, we're not really gapping the field out too much, and We've got Luca Marr chasing us, who is a multi-time karting champion, real young guy. I think he's like 18 or 19 years old, but has been racing karts for forever. And he's the one that switched classes and is now in our class, and he is really fast. So if you look in the rear view camera, you can see that white Mustang starting to reel us in. And that car is a GT4 spec Mustang that you can buy directly from Ford. Pretty much all ready with all the bells and whistles and tricks that go with a real serious road racing car. It's got a sequential transmission, full ABS, all kinds of other, traction control things, and it does really well in the corners. And you can kind of see in some spots that we reel it in on the straightaways, but the car is just really well balanced in the corners and obviously shows us something that we need to work on. And the reason he was able to switch from the GT class to the SGT class is that particular car is allowed to go either way with some different weight restrictions and different throttle body restrictions, where they run a restrictor plate behind the throttle body. Basically, you're allowed to hop the car up to jump up in the SGT class with us. And there was one of the high-ups at Ford, either the CEO or somebody was also here racing, and he was watching this race. So that team had a car in SGT and GT, and I think they were trying to win both of the production car classes for the Ford CEO. So up until the point that we showed up to grid, we didn't know that he had switched into our class, and he had been faster than us in the GT class, but we didn't really need to worry about him because, we were just focused on the SGT class. Well, had we known that he was going to be in our class, we would have qualified on new tires instead of qualifying on used tires, and we could have at least hung with him for a little bit longer, which definitely would have made the race a lot more interesting because, we would have been able to have some actual good racing instead of him just catching us and kind of driving on by us at this part of the race. So at this point of the race, we kind of can see that we don't really have anything for him, but we have put a little bit of distance between us and what is now the third place car. For whatever reason, the car count was a little light at Sebring this year, and there was some incidents on the practice day that took out a few more cars. So we just decide to settle in, try and save some tire in case there's a caution, because typically there are at least one or two cautions during this race every year. But we're going to settle in, try to be smooth, save some tire, and see if we can fight later in the race. Well, by this point, we are about 10 laps into the race, and that is the TA class leader, Chris Dyson, who's coming around to lap us. And you can kind of see that he is gapping out pretty big on the second place car, which is Tommy Dreesy. Yep, movie producer, Tommy Dreesy. You guys want to look him up, and you can see some of the movies that he's directed. And basically, this race ends up going green for a long portion of it, and the field really spreads out. So we're still on our same strategy of trying to conserve the car, save the tires, save the brakes, with the hopes that we might catch a caution later in the race and say it turns into a sprint towards the very end to try and decide the win of the race. That's, you're always trying to play your best case scenario, play the strategy to work the race in your favor. We're not really being pressured from behind, and we know that Luca in the Mustang is not going to be able to drive around and lap us. So if we catch a caution, we'll be right back on his bumper. Maybe can pressure him into a mistake. Some kind of strategy we're trying to play. These races are 100 miles long, which typically takes somewhere around an hour to an hour and 10 minutes. And conserving the car also helps conserve the driver. You may not think that it is, but these cars can be pretty rough on you. I mean, a lot of G-force, especially in braking and in the corners, and they're hot inside of them. It's not uncommon to have 140 to 150 degrees, and it just wears you out. So you got to always keep that in consideration, because to finish well in a race, first we have to finish. And that blue car that just drove by us here, that's Wally Dallenbach, which is another real famous racing name. He's done quite a lot in his career and has decided to run the Trans Am series this year. So it's kind of cool to be on track with some of these guys that have really done a whole lot in the racing history. And Lee himself has won 2 national championships in the Trans Am series in our SGT class. And I can't remember exactly how many races we've won, but I think it's between 10 and 12. There's been several at Sebring, several at Daytona. There goes Boris Sedby. We won at Road America. So we've won quite a few races, and that has been something really awesome to be a part of, getting to travel around and go to all these awesome tracks and compete for wins. Well, as it turns out, this race ends up going green for the entire length. Not a single caution. I don't even know if there was any contact between any of the cars, other than maybe a couple of little side bumps in that first turn of the first lap. But the field gets spread out, and we end up just basically running our laps for the entire length of the race, just making sure we didn't put a tire off or damage the car. And thankfully, the car doesn't let us down. Stays under Lee for the entire length of the race, and we come home second. So a good start to the season for us. And after this race, we head on to Road Atlanta, and we're going to let you ride the whole final lap with Lee with no commentary. So hopefully you guys enjoy that and can hear the sounds of the V10 for its final lap at Sebring for 2022. right, so you're gonna pull off of pit road at the beginning. Copy that. Going down there. All right, P2. Not what we were hoping for, but still not bad.
Super GT. In third place in the number 42, Sebring, I need you guys to get loud for Danny Lowry. In second place, an SGT champion. Let's hear it for Lee Saunders in that Dodge Viper. And then in first place in that beautiful Ford Mustang race for RP number 50, Luca Mars. Ladies and gentlemen, remember that name, because I know that in a couple years I'm going to be able to tell my friends I met Luca Mars once. So we met yesterday. Welcome to the series, and what a better welcome. Danny, tell us about your race.
Well, I made it hard on myself. I had an early spin, so I had to come back, and that made it tough. So I dug as hard as I could, and got fortunate enough to stand up here. But thanks for Trans Am. This is my first race with Trans Am. It's been a fantastic experience. I'd like to
I didn't know what we were going to have after about
Sanders Racing, Greg
like I'm
Holland.
start passing people, I think. How did it respond?
Danny Lowry, ladies and gentlemen, nice job. Lee Saunders, I miss you, buddy. So happy to have you back out here seeing that Dodge Viper. Welcome back.
Thank you very much. It's great to be back. Wow, what a great day. And first off, hats off to Luca. Just a fantastic job. We had nothing for him, man. You're awesome. So anyway, I want to thank my team, KSR, Kevin Smith. We got Dylan. We got Drew, and we got Brian here today. They gave me a great car. The driver was just off a little bit today, but anyway, thanks to Sebring, thanks for Trans Am for putting on a great thing, and thank you all the fans for coming out. I love seeing the fans, so thank you very much. Hope you all come to some more.
Lee Saunders. And then I know Jim Farley's been watching. He's about to go out on track, the CEO of Ford, making him proud. Let's hear it for Luca Mars. Luca, tell us about your race, because I know you're a young kid, but you came out of the car, and man, it must have been hot out there.
Yeah, it was really hot out there, obviously. I was just able to keep putting my head down, do some fast, consistent laps. The car was on rails, thanks to all the core guys for that, Dean and Morgan, everyone at the core team. Everything was good, race for RP, Ford performance, the car was just amazing. I just got out to an early lead, was able to pull away, just kept going, pushing. I was able to get the win. Thanks to all the fans for coming out and watching. Thanks for Jim Farley to come out. Also, it's cool to see that Ford's on top when he's here. And thanks to the competitors putting on a good race today. And Trans Am for hosting this great event.
Luca Mars, I love it. All right, hold the trophies up, gentlemen. There we go. Danny Lowry, Lee Saunders, Luca Mars. I love it. All right, look at Chris, and then we're going to do the hat dance. Luca, are you old enough for champagne? Okay. Just got to make sure, you know, we got to stay legal here. All right, crowd, let's get loud. Danny Lowry, Lee Saunders, Luca Mars. Fantastic way to start the season in SGT. Super GT of the Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli. Here comes Eric out there. Our beautiful new Crystal Sensation trophies. John Claggett, Crystal Sensations just keeps making better and better trophies every year. So cool. One more time, Super GT. Danny Lowry, Lee Saunders, Luca Mars. Looks like they're thirsty as well. They're not going to waste any of that.